What's up, Internet? I'm your host, Omni, and this is Omni TV. Seems like we're going to be backtracking a bit, or at least going into much more detail about one topic we covered last episode, as well as talking about the news for the new Titans series and the portrayal of Starfire, and Disney's most controversial termination to date, at least based on what he was terminated for. Now, there's been a lot of talk with anything regarding someone who so happens to be a minority. The two most notable minorities being black people and anyone a part of the LGBT. I'm shortening down the list to just LGBT because that's a lot of different things for like 4% of the population. Now, when I say anything regarding a minority, I do mean anything. Movies, music, posts, gifs. Yeah, that's right, I said it with the hard G. One problem here is that people are screeching the words cultural appropriation. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's when you take something from one culture, whether it be music, food, a hairstyle, an art style, or a kind of clothing they wear, and use it for yourself. Seems harmless, right? Well, it would be if people weren't offended by the idea. One incredibly popular instance of someone playing the cultural appropriation card is what happened at San Francisco State University here in the United States. Young white male Corey Goldstein was wearing dreadlocks in his hair, and another young black female is seen harassing him in the video. I'm going to show the entire clip without any editing so you guys know this isn't fixed to make the person look bad.
You're saying that I can't have a hairstyle because of your culture? Why?
Because it's my culture. Do you know what box means?
Do you know it was an Egyptian culture? Are you Egyptian? Nah, bro, you're not.
Are you Egyptian? Are you Egyptian?
No, but it doesn't matter.
Wait, where's Egypt? Tell me.
You know what, girl?
Where's Egypt?
Dude, girl, you have no right to tell me what I can not wear. Huh?
Where's Egypt?
Yo, girl, stop touching me right now.
Yo, girl, stop touching me right now. Come back.
Get off of me.
Come back. Come back. Come back. You put your hands on me, no worries.
Like, you know, make some shit because of what the hair I have? That's no reason, yo. I don't need your disrespect. I don't need your disrespect.
Why are you filming this?
Just for everyone's safety.
There's a lot of things going on in this clip, and all of them just point to plain harassment and assault. The girl is grabbing him and forcing Corey to come back while the guy is clearly just trying to walk away. He even verbally tells her not to put her hands on him, and she mocks him knowing full well that he can't do anything without any sort of repercussions, and assuming that she'll get all scot-free with that fucking smug smile. I'm sorry, this video honestly just makes my blood boil. Luckily, for the guy with dreads, another person, who I assume was a student, was filming the entire encounter. Notice that as soon as she realized she's being filmed, that smug cunty smile disappears and she asks why he's filming before assaulting him in an attempt to take the phone. She looks like a great person, doesn't she? There is some speculation that he verbally assaulted her and called her a bitch before the encounter took place. She never mentions that in the video, and even on those grounds she is shown on tape actually putting her hands on him, so that argument is basically moot. I think Corey shows an incredible amount of restraint in the video, and hats off to him for doing so. I don't think I would have been able to keep my cool as much as he did in that situation. This video is fairly old, as the incident was covered worldwide over 2 years ago as time of recording this. I don't know what happened to the woman in question, but I do know that he didn't press any charges and decided to instead let the school system deal with it. If SFSU did anything short of at least suspending her, I am absolutely disappointed. Surely enough, this is not the only thing happening regarding race though. All over social media, specifically Tumblr and Twitter, surprise surprise, there has been actual hate perpetuated towards those who happen to be born white-skinned. I'm referring to social media because I've seen it firsthand, and I'm going to show you a few examples of evidence. In this piece of evidence, we have a young black woman who says, "This is why I hate people who aren't black, go to sleep." Honestly, after that post, I do want to sleep, forever, because this shit makes me want to leave the earth in the biggest ball of flames possible. That's besides the point though. I want to think I don't know what possessed her to say something that blatantly racist and dumb, but I think I know exactly what did. It's basically an entirely new generation of what is essentially the Black Panther movement. Black folk, old and young, are banding against the people who have oppressed them for hundreds of years and are still doing so. They're up in arms against the white devil that's hell-bent on keeping them down, the man, if you will, except no. They're hating a group of people because of something that happened in the distant past, whether it be slavery or segregation. In fact, that exact group of people are the people who are pushing for black-only spaces and black-only communities, essentially pushing for more segregation even though that was the problem in the first place. I hate to be the guy to bring this up, but MLK Jr. would have been absolutely devastated and disappointed if he were to see what's happening these days. Malcolm X might have agreed with it though. He pushed for violence against his oppressors, yes, but this was a different time. We've had a black president since then, another black person run for office, and a bunch of minority people in other offices of power. If things had gone the way Malcolm X had wanted, the country would be vastly different compared to right now, and I don't think we would have had the same progress. After all, it is much more useful to appeal to people's sympathetic and empathetic natures than it is to appeal to their anger and outrage. Here's another kind of issue with race on social media. People having to explain something that should be common sense in the eyes of a decent human being. Like having to explain that your political position does not make you any less of a minority, or disliking something because of the nature of it rather than the fact that they're a minority, or the same with listening to a type of music or not liking another. Here's 2 tweets about some of those things, including one from popular YouTube creator The Amazing Atheist. Me being Puerto Rican, you'd expect me to be all about reggaeton and bachata and salsa and shit like that. I do listen to them occasionally, but I'm more about rock and hip-hop than anything. I mean, listen to my music playing in the background. Thanks to the great people over at Bensound. That doesn't make me any less Puerto Rican at all, it just makes me less traditionally Puerto Rican. Just like actually agreeing with Trump doesn't make you any less of a Latino. Even though I don't. I don't hate him, but I don't agree with him on very much besides the need for tighter border control, using other methods besides a fucking wall, of course. I also agree with him on the fact that the media is so easily swayed and there being absolutely fake news. That shit's everywhere, and that's another reason why people are so easily up in arms. Like I said earlier, it's appealing to the outrage factor, which is much less productive and much more destructive. Shit, I rhymed. Sorry, accidental rhymes are a pet peeve I have. Back to the disliking a minority thing. So, I'm sure people have seen the new Titans trailer. You know, that good old fuck Batman one. Let me start out with saying that I agree that I do not like it. I think the trailer showed why the show is going to be more of a disappointment than something I can look forward to watching. With that out of the way, let's talk about Starfire, the orange, lovable, and powerful Tamaranian who got her start in the Teen Titans. The comics, not the show. She was in that too though, and that's where most of us know her from. She was a curious and gentle alien who crash-landed on Earth and met the Titans, which she joined soon after. However, she's looking pretty different in the Titans trailer. Her costume doesn't represent what I saw in the comics or the show. I'm not going to go as far as to say that she looks like a streetwalker or a hooker, but she looks fairly trashy. That isn't the main issue though. As it is with everything these days, some people think that she isn't liked because the actor playing her is black. I can't even make this shit up. She is a dark orangish tan alien. I don't think being black in the show really matters all that much. Still, people are up in arms in defending this woman's honor. I just don't get why everything has to be about race these days. It doesn't make sense to me. You don't like this character who happens to be black? Well, you must be a racist, misogynist pig. What kind of argument is that? Fuck me, I hope this shit gets sorted out in a few years before we actually end the world based on ignorance alone. And finally, we've reached the biggest news here. The firing of James Gunn. So the big story here is that Disney released James Gunn because of some edgy tweets back in 2012. That's right, people. A director of an incredibly successful 2 movies was fired over some tweets. I swear to you, life is testing my patience. It feels like we really did die back in 2012 and we're all stuck in purgatory or some shit. Anyway, Disney did it and sent a message to the entirety of Hollywood. It doesn't matter if you apologize and have reformed, and now have a different sense of humor. You made the mistake and it will forever be held against you. This kind of thinking is obviously brought to you by the same people who think you're racist for not liking a black character. The stop policing is so fucking stupid and even more so dangerous. You can now get fired for making jokes years ago the same way Mark Meechan, or Count Dankula, was arrested for making a joke about a pug giving a Nazi salute. They're fucking jokes. Free speech might as well be a fucking coffee stain on the Bill of Rights. Or a tea stain. You know, because they had a shit ton of tea back then. Whatever, fuck you. That about wraps up this episode, audience. Make sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe buttons or I will come to your house and spill coffee or tea all over your important work. Whichever you choose. I'm your host Omni, and this is Omni TV signing off.